morning, Chicago Cubs fans. We are back with another edition of Cubs Daily. My name is Steven Ryan. Anthony Rizzo officially announces his retirement from Major League Baseball. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Cubs' big series win in Atlanta, getting a little bit closer in the division. Still a few weeks to go. Still a long shot, but there's life. And then we'll preview the Tampa Bay Rays series. So let's hop right into it and talk about Anthony Rizzo. I'm going to say it right now. The face of the 2010s Chicago Cubs. Acquired by Mr. Theo Epstein and the Cubs in 2012 for, I think it was Andrew Kashner. Yeah, Andrew Kashner and another guy. They acquired Anthony Rizzo. Theo drafted him back in Boston, so obviously there were ties there. Theo was happy to get his guy back, and he became the face, essentially, of one of the most successful eras of Chicago Cubs baseball. It's hard not to argue, right? He was absolutely a great team player, leader, face of the franchise. There's just nothing more you could do but love Anthony Rizzo. The sweet swinging lefty, played Gold Glove first base. He was a three-time All-Star in 2014, or 2015, 16, and 17. He came onto the scene, and he was just special from the get-go. You could tell he was just a big personality. He loved to play baseball, and I'm so happy he was a Chicago Cub, and he's retiring officially as a Chicago Cub. And so, I mean, just kind of one of the mainstays of the 2010s, right? Like, yes, Chris Bryant was on the team for a good while, but he was, he got hurt a little bit. Javi came over and, he contributed as well for most of the 2010s, but nothing was just more present about Anthony Rizzo. He was our captain, he was our leader, and obviously it's sobering that he, retired yesterday. Just a sober, you're just like, oh, wow, like that team is just kind of officially going back in the past, but happy that he's coming back as a team ambassador. Obviously, we all know the work he did with, the Children's Cancer Research Center of Chicago. He had a restaurant across from Wrigley that they renamed after he got traded, but I'm guessing that's going to come back. And I'm just happy he's going to be around the Wrigley Field ballpark, and he's going to be welcomed this Saturday against the Rays, and he's going to be honored. I think he said he wants to sit out in the bleachers with the bleacher bums, et cetera, et cetera. So it's going to be a good time. And just a fantastic ball player. Again, he played good defense. He could hit for power. He really did it all for this Cubs team back the last 10 years or so. It was a really sad day when he got traded, just like the other guys as well. Kind of a sad ending to what really could have been something really, really special. But again, he was a part of three Cubs teams with the three consecutive NLCSs, which is just in my mind, I fathom. I'm like, wow, that's crazy to think about. So, an absolute honor for a legend to retire, here. He absolutely earned it. Talks of retirement of his number, I'm not sure. I think he might get it. Again, the Cubs are a rich franchise in terms of length of history, but the players, there's not a lot of retired numbers, so I could absolutely see 44 flying on the foul pole forever. So, excited to watch that game on Saturday against the Rays. And so, let's talk about this series win that we had against the Braves, right? Cubs win the game yesterday 3-2. It was a battle. Good sacrifice, good manufacturing of runs happened. Carson Kelly with a big swing of the bat to tie it at 1. And then I forgot who had it, but someone had a sac fly to make it 3-1. And shout out to this Cubs pitching staff, man. They got it done again. Now, Tyone coming off the IL and being electric. I'm not going to say that. He only went a 4 1/3. Only gave up 2 runs, though. I mean, Craig Counsell pulled them a little bit early. We went to the bullpen, and the bullpen shut the door. Porter Hodge had a really, really strong inning to keep that Braves lineup at bay. And then, we slammed the door the rest of the way. Andrew Kittredge, man, has a devastating slider that just dives away from right-handed batters. And, he's when he's on, unhittable, an unhittable pitcher. So not a pretty win, but a gutsy win, especially when our offense isn't at full peak. So I want to talk about Tyone, right? Because, if you were leaving yesterday's video, I wasn't even sure who was going to be starting this game. But then about, early afternoon, they announced that Tyone was being reinstated. They're going to option Ethan Roberts back down to AAA. And you know what? Honestly, this is the great jolt for this Cubs team, because then Javier Assad moves to more of a bullpen role, which is a place I think he can really, really thrive. I think Ben Brown, not saying I want him in high leverage innings by any means, but, maybe Ben Brown is a really good one-inning pitcher, like he could put all of his work into just getting 3 outs. Maybe that dials up the fastball, a couple more MPHs, gets a little more rotation on the off-speed stuff. So, adding Tyone back to the rotation, a steady veteran presence is really, really good for this Cubs team. And, it was good to see him yesterday, and I think he pitched about as well as you could coming off the IL. It's not easy just to return back to your normal form, and especially since Tyone's had a couple stints already this year on the IL, it was really, really encouraging to watch him pitch the way he pitched. Yeah, it was only 4 1/3, but again, we just need to get these innings done and get to October. So adding him back to the rotation definitely adds, a little more length to the bullpen, and I think it's starting to round out really nicely for this Cubs team. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I love having Savall. I like having Javier Assad, as those longer reliever options. Obviously, Caleb Thielbar has just been an absolutely fantastic addition. Brad Keller, good quality addition. Yes, have they given up big hits? Of course, every bullpen does it once or twice a season, but I think the bullpen is just a really good job reclamationing this. I know that's not a word, but just reclaiming this bullpen. And, it's been really, really solid since about, the middle of June. So kudos to the Cubs front office. Kudos to the Cubs development system, finding these pitchers to, bring in and really contribute to a winning cause. Yes, I know it's not pretty. I know we have our complaints. We drop them in the comments every single day. And again, please keep on bringing them. But hindsight is always 20/20, and this team is 20 games above 500. And 20 games above 500 over the course of 162 is 90. It's like 91 and 71, So it's a solid record. It's gonna get us to the postseason, especially as these days get closer. Our magic number continues to get lower and lower. I think the wild card magic number is below 10 now. So, we got 3 coming up with the Rays here, and like I said before, it's gonna be Anthony Rizzo weekend. So let's go out there, get another series win, knock down this wild card magic number down to even less, and hey. We're 5.5 back of the Brewers. I'm not sure if they gain a game or we gain a game, but either way, a win by us, a loss by them, puts us at 5 back, and anything can happen down the stretch, ladies and gentlemen. Anything can happen down the stretch, especially when you start applying pressure to some of these other teams. So it's going to be Matthew Boyd on Friday at 1:20. We're going to have Colin Ray on Saturday. That is the game they're also going to be honoring Anthony Rizzo. And then on Sunday, we're going to have Shota Imanaga going on the bump. This is a very winnable series. The Rays are about an average ball club, I'll say. They compete. They do have players. They do have talent. They generally pitch very well. We all know how the Rays operate. But this is the chance for the Cubs to take 2 of 3, or ideally we sweep. Especially when we have, our all-star going Matt Boyd, our once all-star Shota Imanaga, and then Colin Ray, who's just been a steady diet of everything this team has needed all season long. So I'm excited to watch the games starting tomorrow. We'll preview game 1 tomorrow. So make sure you guys get your popcorn ready. You enjoy your day off. Hope you all have a productive rest of your day, and I'll see you all tomorrow.